Hey everybody, it's me, Missy, here to go over another tutorial. And today we're going to be talking about the grid docker. So usually you can turn the grid on by going to View and hitting Show Grid. But we want to change these settings a bit because if I zoom in here, they're pretty small little squares. I'm not sure if you can see that properly, but hopefully you can. Basically, you want to be able to edit this. So we're going to go to Settings, Dockers, and to Grid and Guides. And once this docker appears, it might appear on your right panel here, so just click and drag it off. It's automatically going to be checked on to Show Grid. Now if we turn that or click on that, it's going to turn it off. So you don't really have to go to View, Show Grid. You can always just use the docker. And now we can see the type of grid, rectangular, isometric. Right now it's set to rectangle, so I can take these squares and change the spacings. I can uncheck or click on this, which means those two values will not be locked, they're not going to be the same, and I can do 50. And now I have a rectangle going from left to right. And put that back to 20, I'm going to lock that again. Subdivisions, right now I have one subdivision, and I can do 2, then 3, 4, and I can just add more and more, and it's up to 10. And maybe you need that many, maybe you don't. It can, for me, it's a little much. So we're going to change that spacing to 50. Whoops, not 550. So the squares are a little bit bigger and they're a little easier to see. We can also change the color of our lines. So if I don't like the defaults, I can change this to like a light off-tone pink. Now we'll just make it brighter so you can see it. Now those lines are pink. Don't really want them that way, so I'm just gonna put this back down to gray. There we go. And the other lines, so the solid lines are making the square shape, and the dashed lines are kind of additional guides to make smaller squares within that square. Kind of like a halfway point between these main lines. You can do dots if you like. If I zoom in, I don't know if you can see it, but these are now little dots. Or I can just have them as solid lines. I'm going to keep them as dashed. And if you want to snap to grid, so if I go ahead and make a blue stroke, I can have it snap automatically to whatever point on this grid I have. I'm just going to delete that or undo that. And for isometric, it's going to do an angle. Now we can't do snap to grid for that because when you go and transform something, we can rotate it, but it's a little different how it works. So we can change the cell spacing on this as well, so we can put that to 50. And as you can see, there's only one line. I don't have any additional lines. I can change the angle, so I can do a 90-degree for one and keep it at 45 for the other, or I can just do 90-degree for both and I just get this weird triangle diamond-y type look, kind of like a fence or a grate in a way. And again, I can change this to dash, dots, or solid lines, and I can change the color. The grid offset, so if you see here, the top and the bottom, it looks like it would be pretty much lined up if I did a wrapper. So I'm going to change that. So if I want to adjust it a little bit more, I can say, well, let me do like 2 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 10. So you can see here on the top, now that's changed. So it's still offset. It should still be a little bit, no, the left and the right here. It's not perfectly aligned, so if you were to duplicate this, it would be almost like a texture or pattern, and it would be seamless. So if you go back to rectangle, we can do the same thing here. We can offset that. And this is a little bit easier to see. On my left here, let me zoom in. This solid line right here, it isn't exact with the edge of the canvas. Oops. Put that back. Now if I go all the way to the right, you can see that it is missing a line here. There's no solid line. So I can offset this by, let's say 5, and see if that kind of makes it a little bit more aligned. We'll just put 0, see if that fixes it. Yeah, so that fixed it. So now it's all flush with the canvas size. If we go to the tab that says guides, we can, it's like an Illustrator or Photoshop where you take the rulers and stuff and you make a guide based on that ruler. So we're going to say show rulers first. We should be able to, there it is, it's very light. Let me brighten this up, that's good to see. Okay, so if I click and drag from that ruler on the top and I pull it down, now I have kind of like a measurement here. I can use it on the left hand side to say, yeah, I want this at 600, and then another one will be at 700, and that way that spacing will always be equal for whatever work I'm doing. Now if you want to move it, just click and drag wherever you want it to go, and if I move it off my canvas, it disappears. Now if I'm working, I don't want to accidentally click that guide, I can hit lock guides, and now I can't adjust it, but I can still, can I still add new ones? Nope, I cannot add new ones either. Snap guides. Should be able to, yep, I can snap it in place along with my, what do you call it, my grid here. Went back to gray. Put that back to pink. So it's kind of snapping. Alright, and for the guide, I can also change it to dashed or dots as well. Whatever you prefer. Oops, I have that with the snap. So as you can see, it's kind of sticking there. Don't know why that one's disappearing in the middle, but the other ones are snapping. And I can lock them, and then if I don't want to see them anymore, I can just check show guides and turn it off and turn it back on, and then they're still there. And that's pretty much it for the grid and guide stalker. Hope that helps you guys out. I've used it in the past for doing some bow and arrow weapon design, so I could line everything up and make things exact, which was really helpful. Alright, thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And make sure to let me know in the comments below if your thoughts on this video, if you have any questions, or you want to recommend something else for me to go over. And all my support links are in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video.